Most brand founders try to build a brand by shouting at the market. I built mine by listening. Before I ever sold a single part, I spent an entire year in Facebook groups just answering questions. No pitch, no links, no buy my stuff, just pure value. See, I wasn't just being a nice guy, I was doing the ultimate market research. I was identifying my niche's deepest problems before I ever tried to sell them a solution. Today, we're talking about the birth of a brand and how answering questions for free can actually build you a direct to consumer empire. I'm Will. This is Servant CEO. Let's get into it. All right, we're back here, chapter 1, week 4. We're talking about the customer first business. It's on Amazon. Get you a copy. You can find an audiobook, paperback, and also Kindle. This is the last segment of chapter 1, and I'm excited about this one because this one really starts kind of tiptoeing into what we're mainly going to be talking about this whole book through. In the early days, before there was ever even the thought of a business, I was working in the power sports business. I was working in really just jet boats and personal watercraft, really. I had kind of gotten away from selling motorcycles and ATVs. I had kind of focused in. And so I was the resident expert at the dealership I was working at for boats and watercraft. And I learned through that time, this is back around 2008, 2009, social media was coming online. It wasn't really something that had been around for very long. You had YouTube, had been, I think, 05 or 06, YouTube had come around, so just a couple years in there. Facebook was just kind of getting going. MySpace was on the way out. Instagram wasn't even a thing yet, but all of these social platforms were starting to gain territory, and also forums. Like I used to go to a place called YamahaJetBoaters.com. Today it's JetBoaters.net is where we kind of go, but forums were also very popular, and all these places were so cool because people with a shared interest could come together from all over the world. So let's say you're in a small niche like jet boating. In your hometown, there may only be a handful of people that own jet boats. But if you let the whole world have access to that same forum, well, now you can have dozens or hundreds or even thousands of people that all share that same interest. And from that shared interest, you end up getting a lot of expertise collectively from that forum or from that group of people or passionate enthusiasts. So because I was working in the boat business and it was September, people stopped buying boats in the wintertime. I would work throughout the summer selling boats, but at the end of the year in the winter season, what do you do if you're selling boats and watercraft? So I had a lot of time on my hands, and I discovered these forums, these places to go hang out. And so that's what I did. I spent time in these forums, and I would read the comments down below each of these conversations and the chatter back and forth when someone had a question. And I would learn things from all over the globe, people talking about different types of environments that they would go boating in, different types of conditions, different types of hulls, lengths, freeboard, draft. There's a endless number of things that I learned about boats and personal watercraft from studying what other people talked about their native body of water. Maybe it was a lake, maybe it was a bay, maybe it was an ocean, maybe it was a creek or a river. There were so many things that I was kind of exposed to. It gave me a great depth into boating in general. I learned a lot from listening to other people and crawling these forums and these chat groups. I also learned problems that people talked about on a regular basis. I think that's really the meat and potatoes of this part of the book, and we're going to get into that more even in future chapters, is learning about your customer, learning about your niche, becoming an expert, really spending that time in the early days to gather all that information. This is market research we talked about in the intro. I wasn't there to sell a product because I didn't have a business at this time. I was simply filling my spare time listening to what people had to say and answering questions where I could. Over time, answering a lot of questions from people, I began to be seen as an expert within this space, which, let me just clear the air, I was not an expert by any stretch of the imagination. But because I was the only guy that was doing this consistently across a long period of time, eventually I became sort of the human version of the digital collective. because I'd been there for a long time. Today it's 2026 today, and I've been doing this since 2008, 2009. So working on 20 years of being in these places, these forums, these chat groups, these jet boater specific places every day, many times a day, learning what people are asking questions about, learning what their solutions were, and also sharing the things that we've learned. I said all that to say this. If you will, in the early days, after you've discovered your passion, after you've discovered your niche, if you'll spend time in those places where others gather, Facebooks, Instagram, YouTube, other people that share your passion, and just spend time there. Just listen to what they're saying and take notes. Don't try to sell anything. Don't go in these places trying to share some product idea that you've got with them. That is not what you're there to do, not in the early days. This is a time where you are learning. This is the early stages of you really discovering your value, earning your value within these collectives. Eventually, one day, this collective are your customers. They will be the people that will buy from you, but you don't have that permission just yet. They don't know you just yet. You don't have the expertise just yet. The door has not been opened just yet. But in the early days, when you're establishing that expertise and learning, people will welcome you coming in and helping them with an answer to their question, especially when you do it for free. I want to repeat that. You want to do it for free. Don't charge a dime. Just listen, learn, help where you can, and do it often. I did it for the first year before I was ever even thinking about building a business. And eventually, once the business came, people recognized me as someone to be trusted, someone that knew what he was talking about, and someone that wasn't trying to just simply extract a dollar from someone's pocket. I was there to help. And the products that we were selling, as by the way, were solutions to their problems that they would talk about. We'll talk about that in a later chapter. I want to clarify, if you're not looking to build a business where you're going to be manufacturing things, don't tune out on me on this. This is a really kind of an overarching wisdom that I'm sharing in that spending time with your niche really doesn't have to be about building products. Spending time with your niche is to do with you understanding people, understanding your customers better, maybe understanding their problems or understanding how they use whatever it is that you're going to make. You may decide to build a digital product. You may decide to build something that has nothing to do with an actual physical product, but you still solve a problem nonetheless. So that's what this is about. Go out, find your niche, spend time on social media and all the places where your friends or your potential customers hang out. Listen and learn. Take notes all the time. Help where you can. Sow into people as often as you're able to. That's one of the things I write about in my book, is that I had sometimes through a given day, maybe helped a dozen people, let's say. And I would be scrolling through social media and I would see a question and I would know the answer to that question. And I would be tempted, you know what? I'm busy right now. I've got to go do this thing over here. Somebody else will answer that question for me. But in the moment, maybe also think, why don't I just take a couple of seconds and quickly just answer that question? It costs me nothing. But in doing so, it actually broadens my reach because I'm sowing into somebody else wisdom or sowing into somebody else something of value to them and not charging them anything for it. So be liberal with your information. Be liberal with your time. Be liberal in that early stage as you're learning about your niche and learning to help people. Always treat people with that open heart, that servant CEO mentality that we're talking about all throughout this book. You will find that if you will serve people, that you will always have customers. You'll always have people that are going to want to do business with you because it's a immutable law of nature. These laws don't change. It's how it is. So be kind to people. Give them what they need. Trust me, if you do that with your business, then forevermore you will have a business. So anyway, well, good. Well, listen, I'm glad you tuned in today. Again, check it out, servantceo.com. You can pick up the book, Customer First Business. Check it out on Amazon. There's the Audible version coming soon. We have the Kindle version already out, also the paperback. Share it with your friends. If you know somebody looking to build a business or grow their business, this stuff that I'm talking about in this book, even if you already have a business, is going to help you in a big way in creating a foundation that will last indefinitely if you use these principles we've built over the last 16 years or so. Like and subscribe if you like this video. It goes a long way to help us getting into the algorithm, and these videos being shared and helping other people out. And as always, if you like this video, check this one out.